Hello everyone, welcome to tonight's presentation of OTF Connect's ClassFlow for Interactive Lessons with Jacqueline Calder. We're really thrilled to have you all joining us again tonight. On behalf of Sirius Skirhan, who's the administrator and facilitator of the OTF Connects program, she extends her appreciation that you're giving up some of your own time to further your learning and that of your students. And as always, we're thrilled to have Jacqueline with us again tonight. Jacqueline is a very frequent presenter with OTF Connects. She's got a very diverse background, which helps a lot. And we had a lot of fun in one of her earlier math sessions where she introduced ClassFlow for some math activities. And so tonight we're going to go a little deeper with ClassFlow in general and have some fun. And so as I said before, if you run into any technical difficulties whatsoever, you get lost, you get confused, go for that purple circle to come back into Blackboard Collaborate, let us know in the chat or jump on the microphone, and we'll definitely follow up with you. And so I will just move to our maps and look at us all sprinkled right across the province for the most part, right up into the north, which we're seeing more and more. So we're really thrilled that those of you up in the north are joining the sessions and letting your colleagues know about it as well, especially I think through this cold winter. It's been a lot more accessible because we've been inside a lot and not wanting to venture out. And so these online opportunities to connect with each other have been really fortunate. So right now, though, we are going to hand things over to Jacqueline, who is I'll let Jacqueline describe where she lives. I'm not going to make any judgments of whether I consider that to the north or not. To me, it certainly is. And Jacqueline, over to you.
Thank you, Louise. I definitely don't consider where I live north, not in comparison to where I've lived before, up in Moosonee. But anyways, oh, we have a nice picture of the wiki. That's great. Before we get started, I just want to do a few questions to see, just to kind of help me make some decisions on the fly. So hopefully everyone remembers where the little green check mark and red X is above our names. If not, you can just throw answers into the chat, and that's not a problem. I'm going to start with asking, I know Louise asked earlier, but we've had a bunch of people join in since. I'm just going to ask for a green check mark if you've either been in a session before that introduced ClassFlow or if you've played with it at all, if you've done any sort of playing with it at all, and then a red X if this is going to be your first time venturing into it. Perfect. If you hover over the green check mark or the check respond to poll, you'll see the X pop up there. Have you ever, and Vera, I already know this one, have you ever been introduced to ClassFlow before? So green check mark if you've seen ClassFlow in action before, even just a little bit. Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. My plan for the evening. Yes, okay, perfect. So my plan for the evening is to start off with a quick demo where you are the students and you try to use ClassFlow on a web browser on your computer while you've got Blackboard open in one area for me to talk to you. And then you're going to try have another browser open and actually practice using ClassFlow as a student to get kind of the big picture idea. Then I'd like to do a quick screen share if I can. This may cause an internet malfunction, but we will try it just to show you from the teacher's point of view what the ClassFlow environment looks like. And then I have a series of steps to take us through as far as we can get that you can see right there on the screenshot on our screen right now. Create an account, which is really just kind of getting started and used to the environment. Creating your first lesson, how to connect students to a lesson. How to share a lesson once it's completed, like with another teacher so that they could use it with their class. How to print a lesson if you wanted a paper copy of some of the highlights of the lesson. How to do assessments in ClassFlow, which I'll explain. How to do assessments without using it in a lesson. And then the teacher app that works on an iPad and or an iPhone depending on what functionality you want. Each one of those steps have either a couple of screenshots or they have like a 1 or a 2-minute video clip created by ClassFlow actually, that we'll watch to get the visual and then give a couple minutes for questions and maybe trying a little something out in the background. Does that sound, I'm going to clear all these check marks. Green check mark if that sounds kind of like, yep, that's what I signed up for, sounds like a good plan. suggestions or freakouts in the chat. Vera, stick with the student version right now because as a student for the demo that works better. When we get to the teacher version later on, I don't think we're going to have a whole bunch of time to play with the teacher version of the iPad, but I'll tell you exactly what it does and the benefits of playing with that later. Perfect. Okay, so no one's having a meltdown. There's a couple chats, a couple people in the chat, but that seems like it was pretty much what everyone had in mind. So that's good. Now, Helena, you have your mic on. Did you want to ask a question or have a comment?
You know, I think I tried to connect with Helena earlier on, and I'm wondering if her audio isn't working terribly well, so I'll try and follow up with her separately. But Jacqueline, I'll have my first little mini meltdown. So the student link for the demo tells me that the page is not found. It's still on a ClassFlow page, but it says page not found, and it doesn't give you a spot to enter the join code.
What address did you type in?
I clicked on the link in the wiki. Oh, but you know what? Oh, I just pasted it into the chat, and it has some extra characters after it. Let's try it again.
Okay, anyways, so what I'm going to do, we're not quite there yet anyways, so in a second, okay. Those couple people have, the people who have already been in ClassFlow I can see have already connected. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by, oh, not the link that Louise has just put into the chat, please don't go there yet, but right here is the classflow.wikispaces.com is a link to the wiki that I've created for tonight. I'm going to try and bring it up here on our screen. We'll see how that goes. Does everybody see Welcome to OTF Connect's ClassFlow for Interactive Classes on the board now? Oh, awesome. Okay, so that link that I've given you, classflow.wikispaces.com, everything we're going to do tonight is listed here. My email is there, so if we don't get as far as we needed to get, if something happened in your house, the other night I take my master's course online just like we're doing tonight in an environment like this, and someone came to the door and opened up the door and let their own dog into my house, and all heck broke loose in my house. So if that kind of stuff happens in your house, kids are up and people are running around, if you miss something, don't worry. Everything's here. So don't worry about missing anything. Everything is here, and the ability to contact me is here if you have questions later. So that being said, let's try by doing a demo as a student. So for those of you that have been in one of the math sessions where we did a demo, sorry, and this is repetitive to you, but I think it's a really important stage to get everyone on the same page. So you have an idea on what it looks and feels like as a student, and you have the big picture idea on what it is that you're trying to set up when you get in as a teacher. So now we're going to go to the link that Louise pasted up here. So I'm going to paste it in the chat again. So it's classflow.com/student. So once I'm finished here, you're going to open up a web browser window on your computer, or if you have a tablet, there is a free ClassFlow student app. But you don't need to use a tablet, but you can use a tablet app, or you can use just another web browser on your computer and go to that classflow.com student. There are tablet apps for iPads, for Android tablets, and for Windows tablets. When you get there, it's going to ask you if it's your own device. It's going to ask you if you share it with other students or if it's your own device. That's just because it's deciding whether or not to remember your name and your code or not. So if you doesn't matter, you can always reset it later anyways, but you can choose whether or not it's your own device or a shared device, and then it asks you if you always have the same teacher or different teacher. You should probably put in different teacher this time because chances are you won't be connecting to my same code again unless we come back to play more ClassFlow. But so when you get to that website, if you want to enter in the join code and your name and go through those series of questions and then see if you can connect into the ClassFlow lesson. So from my point of view, I can see that 7 of you are already in the classroom. And I will show you what the teacher side looks like after. We're just going to worry about getting you connected as a student right now so that you see the student point of view. But remember, in my classroom, I'd have the teacher view projected on the board so that I have both a lesson going on up front and then they have their own screens as well. A little bit different when we're trying this virtually. I can see that 8 of you are connected. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 16 of us here. So we're about halfway in. So if anyone's having any troubles on how to connect, please ask your questions in the class. So we're going to this link here, classflow.com/student. Yes or no? Which is the question, Erin? You can choose either if it's your own device or a shared device, but click that you have different teachers. Not sure you're in. I'm going to go check right now. Yep, you're in. I can see Amanda. I can see Gail. I feel like maybe I'm showing my age, but was it the when they were looking for the romper room or whatever it was? I see Catherine, Manel, Vera, Rosie, Chantel, Nicole, Helena, Kristan, Sharon, and Luis in there so far. Anyone else having problems getting into the lesson? Oh, someone else got in now. I just don't know which one it was now that wasn't in before. Was it Shannon that just got in? We've got 12 of us in now. Just going to give it another second here. And did I say this? I haven't seen you yet, but I am just going to go take a look again. Sometimes there's a bit of a lag too between what I see once you've joined. Basically what you're going to see on your own end is a whole bunch of pretty pictures. You're going to get scenery pictures. So you might see Easter Island. You might see mountains. Yes, in a river background. Jordan, you are in the right place. You get all sorts of weird but pretty scenery pictures to keep you occupied until your teacher is ready to send something out to your screen. So I think we've got everybody in. If anyone's missing, let me know. Erin, I see you now. So you should have pretty, pretty pictures and landscapes. Okay, I am going to, it's a visual version of elevator music, but you just don't want 30 kids in your class with actual elevator music coming from their devices. So it's a visual one instead. Okay, so I am going to push my first slide out to everybody. And the first picture I'm going to send to you is just going to be a picture. So it's just going to, this is when my kids all go, ooh, you hijacked our computer. So right now I've just sent a picture of a cell to you. Just a regular cell diagram, and you can't do anything with it other than look at it right now. It's just a picture. So can I get a green check mark back in here if you got the picture of a cell to show up on your thing, on your ClassFlow? Okay, so it looks like it's working for most people. That's good. Sometimes what happens is in the classroom, when I've got everyone connected, is either someone's computer or the internet kind of glitches, I guess you could say, and they get kicked out. And I find that if they refresh and rejoin, then they get the picture of the cell show up, or whatever picture I've sent out to them show up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you that same picture, but I'm going to give you the ability to circle parts of it, maybe label parts of it if you wanted to, draw on the screen. So I'm going to send what's out, it's called the Creative Poll, and it's with this card for the picture. So I'm sending that to you right now. And so when your screen refreshes and when it gives you the picture of the cell, now you're going to see a pen tool. You'll see a text tool. You even have the ability on to take a picture if you wanted to, especially if you're on a tablet, and you can take a picture of your drawing, like your own classwork on a desk or something. Like, I'm not drawing on the desk, although my students do, but draw on a piece of paper and take a picture of it. There's lots of different ways. And then you click the either blue or green arrow at the top right when you're done to submit it to me. Your drawing comes back to me then. So if you can do that, just draw on the screen or add some text. Just play around however you want, and then click the arrow to submit it back to me when you're done. Okay. So if I see my progress bar that we're about halfway through, about half of you have sent in your polls. So if I could get the rest of you to submit, I know you're not actually, I haven't given you time to actually do the activity, but just to play. We're going to go through a couple example activities, so you have lots of time to play. But if you could click the green or the blue arrow to submit, that would be great. Oh, and I can hear someone's got their mic on. Did someone have a question or a comment or something that they wanted to work on? Who?
Me, Diane.
Oh, hello.
Hello,
Diane. How are you?
Can you hear me?
I do.
Okay, and I didn't get those pictures you said.
You don't have a cell picture?
No, the picture you said you sent to me and to all of us. I didn't get it.
So are you in ClassFlow in your other window in a browser window right now?
I'm in the Blackboard Collaborate under yours, right?
Oh, okay. Did you join us a few minutes late here? So did we miss the instructions? Like did you miss the link to where we're going?
I had to call the 1877 number and then the data.
Okay. So
actually I downloaded last week, but everything I don't know. Just just last night I tried to make sure it's ready, but it seems I don't know. I don't count everything.
In the chat right now, I put a link to a website. If you want to go there, please, and enter in the code. So open up a separate window, a browser window, and enter in the code QQJD6 and join into our ClassFlow class. So we've got two windows open on our computers.
Okay, you said I open another.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a lot open there. I have no idea which one. So support portal, I have to close it, right? I don't think I need those, right? And then Blackboard Collaborate, I have 4 there. So which one I have to close?
I wouldn't close your Blackboard Collaborate, but open up like Google Chrome or Internet Explorer.
Okay.
And enter in that link.
Okay, I have the Google Chrome now. I believe so.
Louise, could you work with Diane in the chat to help her out? And then that way. So I'm just going to turn your mic off. If you could just turn your mic off there, Diane, and in the chat, Louise is going to help you get connected.
Okay, I'm in that browser now. What I have to do?
Here, Diane, are you able to see the chat in the Blackboard Collaborate area? And I'll type some of the helpful steps in there for you to make sure that you get on the same page as everybody else.
Okay.
All right, and you just need to click your talk button again to turn your microphone off, and then you and I will have a little. Yep,
okay.
Click your talk button again.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay,
and now you and I will have a little conversation in the chat. Go ahead, Jack.
Thanks. Okay, so I'm just going to go look through the chat here. I can see that most people have submitted their cell poll, but I see that a few of you had problems. So Helena, you said that you didn't have a blue or green arrow, so maybe the poll didn't come through to you. So I'm going to try it again in a second, okay, with a different picture. And who else wasn't? Oh, Hema tried to click a link, but it didn't work. To get into ClassFlow, so copy the link and then paste it into a browser. If clicking on the link isn't working, sometimes that happens. Copy it and paste it into your window. That would be great. For those of you in the ClassFlow as students right now, I'm just going to stop the poll. So if you're doodling or trying to send something, this is going to cut you off. So I'm going to close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I stopped the poll. Those of you in ClassFlow should get your pretty pictures back and all of your scenery and pretty pictures happening. And what happens is I have the ability to pull up your work now, and I can pull up the view poll. I can view my poll responses, and I can look at what you guys submitted. And I'll show you this in a bit. So I can see that someone put some nice green arrows. Vera rocks. I'd rather see drums. I'm going to show you some music stuff after. I can see, Aaron circled the nucleus. We've got Catherine's parts of a cell labeling. We have mitochondria labeled by Gail. Jordan is playing with the Golgi apparatus. And we've got, ooh, it's funny, about 3 of you in a row circled the Goldie. We've got Kristen doing smiley faces. So, and Shannon wrote me a message, and we've got cells and smiley faces and Trippy on there. So as you can see, I can see your responses, and I can share them up in front of the class. And I'll show you that if the screen sharing works really well tonight. I'll show you that after. So I'm going to send you another poll now as an example, and this time it's a set of tangrams. So I'm going to start the creative poll. What you're going to end up with showing on your screen within a couple of seconds is a black outline of a house, and then some tangrams that you can drag and place over top of the house. So those math teachers out there usually have a bin of tangrams kicking around somewhere, plastic things. And a lot of the time we use them for math and some activities. But here's a virtual version of them. And you can drag them on your pole and place them all over the place. I'm going to suggest that we not spend time actually solving the actual puzzle. It does take quite a few minutes to get to this one. Maybe just move a few of those shapes around and then click the green or blue arrow to submit. Vera's only seeing photos. No, Shannon, absolutely not. My next example is going to be for music. My background is just strongly math and science. So, yeah, Vera, right now most people have a picture of a house and tangrams. So give me a second and we'll try again on the next one. Actually, Vera, what I'm going to suggest you do while we finish up the tangrams is that you hit the little refresh button, and basically, and you might have to log back in, but it might just refresh and rejoin you. But it looks like yours has lost the connection.
Okay, they asked me for the code. What should I do? They asked the enter code. I don't know what's the code number. Hello?
Hi, Diane. The code is Q.
I cannot type in the chat. How can I type in the chat to you? I have no idea how to type. Where?
The bottom left area.
Okay.
Up the very bottom left corner of your Blackboard Collaborate is an area where you can type the chat, and you'll see all the comments above, and you can scroll up and down. There's actually a few helpful hints in there to help you get going.
Okay.
But the join code,
number. I don't know what's the code number.
I just put it in the chat for you, okay?
Oh, Q2JD6. Okay. So I say yes and Q2JD6. Okay. So
okay, thanks.
Let me to turn on the top again. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the, if everyone could submit their tangram poll now, I'm going to stop the poll in 5 seconds, in 4 seconds, in 3 seconds, 2, 1. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a quick look and see how folks did with that one. Ooh, and we have all sorts of pretty houses. Actually, some of you got right through them. Good. Okay, so now hopefully Vera has refreshed her her browser, and same with, by the looks of it, Bethany. And I am going to try sending another poll. So log out of it, out of the ClassFlow, and back in if you need to. And I am going to send another poll. This one is going to be music. So hopefully it works for Vera. And we're going to, oops, I just sent you a picture of it. I didn't send you the poll yet. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Okay, now I've sent you a poll. You can drag those music notes up onto the music line paper anywhere you want. So you can move things around. Basically what we're practicing is just the idea. Oh, perfect. So the idea is that you can create things that move around the screen, that students can move around the screen. They can write on the screen as well. You can also do multiple choice questions. Like when I click the poll button, I can do multiple choice. I can do, what else do I have? Multiple choice. Oh, something called a word seed we're going to try in a second. And then you have this creative poll that you can draw on the screen, or you can move the parts around. As the teacher, I decide what can move around on the screen and what is locked or anchored into place. Very similar to Smart Notebook if you're used to using that at all. Okay, so submit your music, wonderful music notes. And I'm going to stop the music poll in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to cut it off now. Okay, so I cut the music poll off, and I'm just going to go quickly in and take a look and see what people did with their music polls. Oh, actually, and almost all of you got them in, which is awesome. Ooh, all sorts of fun music, and I am very limited in my ability to read music, so I don't know. I'm assuming it is all wonderfully accurate and fun music. Okay, I'm just going to check the Blackboard chat. Okay, so a couple questions in here. Is ClassFlow free for students and teachers? It is absolutely free. It is created by Promethean, which is the other smart board. It's the Promethean interactive whiteboards. They're just a different brand of whiteboards, and it is absolutely free for now. I'm not sure if their long-term business plan is always for free, but it's been like this for a couple of years now, so I don't see it going anywhere fast. And yep, Shannon, I'm going to send out, show you how you send out some articles and stuff like that in a second. And the other thing about Promethean is that it's, right now, Smart Notebook is licensed to be used with smart projectors. Promethean has licensed ClassFlow, and they don't care what kind of projector you're using it with. So I actually use my ClassFlow on a computer with a smart projector in different brands. And so they've kind of let that go, that proprietary aspect go, which is really nice. So it works great with an interactive whiteboard, or it works great with just a regular projector, and then with some student devices. So the next thing I'm going to send you, and we're going to do this one, I'm just going to send you a picture of it. I'm not going to do the poll. So I've just sent you a picture of a graph. So if I had sent this to you as a poll, you'd be able to actually draw on the screen and do the graph. But I think we've had enough of the actually trying those now. We're going to try a couple other things. But there's lots of pictures and math stuff that you can do in here. So the next card I'm going to send is, well, I could send you a YouTube video if I wanted to, but what I'm going to do is we're going to do a word seed. Well, actually, I do want to send you an article. Give me 1 second here to try something. Sorry, my ClassFlow is just taking a breather apparently. I will send you something in 2 seconds. Yikes. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to send you an article. So what I've pushed out to everybody is a web page. And so on your screen, you should see, I'm just going to send it again to make sure, you should see a web article. And it's just a CBC article. I don't even know what it's about now. Oh, it's about that new Rogers and Shaw Netflix rival that's come out. And you can scroll through it and read the article at your own pace. So I could send that article out to students. They could read it in groups. They could read it on their own. I could send different articles to different students, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I can push it out instead of everyone having to go to the link. A couple of you aren't seeing anything. Okay, I'm going to try pushing it one more time. Oh, up in your browser, if you're in Chrome, go up into your address bar, and if you see a little shield on the right-hand side, it might be being blocked. You might need to click that little shield and click Load Unsafe Script. Okay. Okay, so it doesn't look like this article is coming out at all to anybody. How about now? Whoops. Did it come to anybody? Yep, a couple of you got it now? Got it? Oh, okay. Looks like we're having more success now. Oh, good, okay. Sorry about that. You got the shield, yeah, okay. You see a blank square? It might be blocked on yours as well, Amanda, sorry. You can try refreshing, but I do find that sometimes, just once in a while, and especially when our internet is overloaded, that a few of them don't show up, and it's usually when our internet is overloaded. And I'm thinking the fact that we have Blackboard Collaborate and ClassFlow running on a lot of our computers at the same time, that it's not the best situation. So yeah, so sometimes some of our glitches tonight are kind of partially because we're doing two media heavy things. You had to close and go back into, Luis? Yeah, okay. I think we're overburdening a few of our computers and our internet bandwidth as we come in. But we'll do a few more examples and then we'll close ClassFlow and do some stuff. Yeah, we are making it work hard. Okay, so I'm going to send a new slide to everyone now. And this time, what I'm going to send you is what's called a word seed. And what I want you to do is to type in one word, and it could be anything. Anything at all. And then click submit. Just one word, and then what happens is that I can sort and organize all those words. So it's great for brainstorming with a class, collecting information about some things, and then organizing and coordinating. So a lot of the time, if we watched a video in a science class that I've taught before, we watched a video as part of an inquiry. So now we're going to start researching a topic that little 5-minute video kind of piqued their interest on. Students will ask questions they have about the science. And then we'll group those questions into common areas and then divide them up for everyone to answer. Okay, I'm going to end this poll now, so everyone get your word submitted. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to show you what I can do with that on the teacher side when in a couple minutes. I'm going to try and do a screen share and show you what the teacher side looks like. And I'll show you how I can group those answers now. But wait. I'll have to wait a couple seconds to do that. Okay, so what I'm going to send to you now, hopefully, is a PowerPoint. So hopefully everyone should get a PowerPoint slide, and it has blood cells. And you should be able to scroll through them good. And so you can send a PowerPoint whole slide deck out to students, and they could go through them on their own. At their own pace. Okay, so this one just see some pretty pictures of blood. Okay, so now I'm going to send you a new card, and this card is a PDF. So you should be able to scroll through the 4 pages of the PDF on your own, and you can just scroll through them. So if there's a PDF that you wanted as part of your lesson for students to have a look at, maybe they were dividing up an article or looking at different things, then you can do that. And the last one I'm going to show you as a student is a video, and we'll see if I can get that to you. So I'll try and send that to you now. Okay, so now I'm just sent out a YouTube video to you. And that should show up on your screen if it comes through, if we haven't overburdened our internet. And so then you could watch that video on your own. Maybe it's a review about a topic that you're doing, or all sorts of different things depending on what you wanted to do in class. Okay, here's my plan. I think that as a student, you guys should disconnect from my classroom now. So close that window that had ClassFlow, come back to Blackboard Collaborate, and I am going to try and share my screen to show you what the teacher side of that looked like. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is to close that, and when you come back and are in Collaborate and your ClassFlow is closed, green check mark, and in the chat box, your first impressions of ClassFlow. If everyone's okay with that. So now you're closing ClassFlow and just coming back in here and letting me know when you're back. And I apologize for the noise of my dog snoring in the background. And any first thoughts or, well, I've got two here that you could take. Well, not take, I lie, but maybe for when I'm doing these sessions, I shouldn't be in the same room. Borrow, yeah, sure. Okay. I find it does work, Amanda, in non-one-to-one. So I have, my kids all are supposed to bring their own devices every day, but a lot of the time, quite a few of them have problems with the devices, especially as we're getting started. And they end up having to share. And that works sometimes, or sometimes I hand out my devices for them to use to get responses on. Because a lot of the times I do want them to work as groups anyway, so they do share a device. And then a lot of the time I want their independent thoughts on things. So we go back and forth between, I'll often, if I know I need their independent thoughts, I will, oh cool Vera, I sign out 5 iPads to have in the classroom in case their own computers aren't working. Cool. Very cool. Okay, some great thoughts and ideas there. Now I'm going to try a screen share. So Luis, if you, while I'm sharing my screen, could just verbally let me know maybe if things are coming through okay. I'm going to try and do maybe a 2-minute demo of what the teacher side of ClassFlow looks like.
Sounds good. And yeah, while you're doing that, folks, so we're switching to a different mode. So now basically the space is going to be a view of Jacqueline's active desktop on her computer. If you find that that is not working very well for you, let us know. And if you get bumped out of the session, it should log you right back in again. But it looks like the transition has gone okay. I don't see any lagging symbols except for Rosie, whose sound might be a little behind.
And can you see my desktop now, my ClassFlow lesson, the cell picture and the environment that I'm in?
Oops, I clicked thumbs down, but I meant to say thumbs up. Yes.
Okay, I can't see. I can't see. Okay,
exactly.
I can't see anything in Blackboard, so that's why
absolutely.
Verbal cue is perfect. Awesome. Okay, so let me know then. Jump in and let me know if things go bad, because I'm just going to kind of do a 2-minute overview of this here. And I'll try to move slowly so that my movements don't cause too many problems on your side there. But
I'm just going to ask, can we just ask and see, can you guys give us a green check mark if you do see the cell? And then I'll be able to see and we can feed that back to Jacqueline. Okay, most everybody, lots of green check marks coming. Okay, and Vera's good. Catherine, Helena, Aaron, have you got it? Okay, I think most everybody's got it.
Perfect. Okay, so this is what my front board looks like, or this is what my projected area looks like. All of my slides, or they're actually called cards in ClassFlow, are down the right-hand side. So you can now see all those cards that we worked on. This part A up here, I can put different sections into it. And while we're talking, so if we were doing a lesson, I can grab the pen, and even if I haven't pushed this card out to any students, we can write and talk about it as a class. So we can use this as a lesson, just like you would with a smart board or a smart notebook. And then when I decide I do want to push this card out to you, I click my little, it's a box with an arrow over here, and it says send card. And I send the card, and that little green check mark, let me show that again. That little green check mark lets me know that it was sent out to the people in my class. So that should have been pushed out. I can go back to just my hand cursor like this. And then I can choose to send a card to a group of students. So I could choose just to send the card to Diane, Jay, and Manel. And then I can send the card out to just those 3 students, whereas the rest of the students maybe are getting a different card. So allowing for some differentiation. Now when I want to send the poll, I'm actually going to go into the pen tool, and I am going to clear all my annotations. And now I can go into this poll, which is right here, and I could send a multiple choice or that word seed where you just entered in a word or two. True or false, multiple choice, a scale, a text answer, or a number, but creative is the one where they can draw. So when I send that out, this is what it looks like. And this is the polling bar. that I see, and it starts to fill up as people reply. And then I can pause a poll and kind of freeze them if I need to talk to everyone in class for a second, clarify the instructions, or the teacher makes a mistake, or I can stop the poll like I'm going to do right here. Once students have, once I've had the responses for a poll, I can click this right here, that's View Poll Responses. And when I do that, it opens up with all of my responses down here. So if I go back to the original cell one that you guys answered earlier, I get this, a scroll along the bottom, a little thumbnail of everyone's response with their name or their user ID logged on, and then a bigger one here. And I can, if you see, if I click on a card, it has a blue little. It'll be tough for you guys to see on a small screen there, but it says Add Card to Lesson. So if I really liked what Louise did, she didn't answer the question. Oh yeah, she did. Here she did. Sorry. I can send Add Card to Lesson, and what it does is it's taken her responses and added it into our lesson. So I can close out of here, go back here, and now here's her responses, and I can push that back out to all of the students, and we can talk about Louise's responses or Group 3's response or whatever. And we can talk about different ways to do a problem or different things. And now one other thing I'm going to show you is that go back into these poll responses, and let's look at that word seed. So when you guys, these are all the different words that people sent in. I love the March break. Okay, so let's start by grouping food. There we go. We can start by putting food together. Here we go. Sugar can go there. Activities. We've got curling. We've got frisbee. There we go. Dandelion can go with things, buckle. And anyways, you see what I can do? We can group different responses and then take a look at them that way, so that you're collecting similar ideas. So that's what the word seed is. And then the multiple choice just comes up as a multiple choice responses that tells you what they got. And true and false, the same thing. I'm going to close this now. So this is what it looks like from the environment of the teacher. I'm going to come into Blackboard Collaborate now and just ask, let me show you one more thing. I'm sorry. Up here at the top where you see 7, so there's still 7 of you with your browser connected to this. And if I click on this Connect Students right here, it opens this up so that I can leave this on the projector for a couple of minutes at the beginning of class, the code, and then their names. And I can boot people out if I wanted to. So who should I won't actually boot. Oh, someone's gone. I can click on one and kick someone out if I needed to. I can also pause the lesson and stop streaming if I needed to. And then this information tab here opens up this, and it tells students how they can join. They can go to the ClassFlow, they can use the app, and then this is something else. And then the code. So that is there. And here's all of the tools for running the lesson. Here's all of my cards, and I access their responses so that we can talk about them there. I'm coming back into Collaborate now. Okay. Let me try and go through. Wow, a lot of conversation happened in here. Okay.
While you catch up with that, Jacqueline, I'll tell you what one of the ones at the top was, and Chantel wanted to know how often you use this.
So in my math class, it depends on what we're doing. But in my math, and that's this semester, last semester, I used it probably about 20, 30, 35 times out of 90 days. Well, plus like 8 snow days last semester. But so that was a learning strategies class. In my math class, we use it 3 times a week, maybe. For math, it is quite useful. And I know I have a teacher that was working with me that was a French and music teacher. Used it quite often to do some little activities and some matching things and that kind of stuff. Okay, so now what else did I miss in this? Can you do it on their screen? Yeah, so Vera, so I can write up on the board and then I have to sync it by pressing that send button and it sends it to them. One of the things they're working on, the company, is to have it show up real time on their screen. But right now I draw on it and then I push it out. Yeah, and I have to push it out step by step. They can watch on the board. Yeah, they're working on it. Yeah, okay. Student work can be shared. Yeah, I can just not project the bottom part of that browser where their names are. They can barely see them anyways. There's a whole community, Vera, for ClassFlow lessons. And so and I'm going to show you later how to share your own ClassFlow lesson to another teacher, and you can also grab some on there. Yeah. How long does it take to create an activity? Depends on what you're creating and how many slides. You can import a PowerPoint. You can import pictures as your background, or you can make them. You can import smart notebook files, or you can create them natively. And they take a fair amount of time if you're creating them from scratch, but you do get into a workflow. So I created like a 10-day unit of math algebra. So I created one lesson for 10 days and just put different dividers in for my 10 different days. And I have probably 4 or 5 slides for every day, activities that my students are doing as we learn different algebraic concepts. And that took me, by the time I got going, about an hour. And I've used it quite a bit now. But I started from scratch. I didn't import anything from that one. A few screenshots of different stuff. Nice. Yeah, so it's grade 9 applied mathematics is what I was doing. That for. What else do we have? How long does it take to create an activity? How did you incorporate into math? Yes. Oh, okay. So that kind of was answering some of that question too. And if anyone wants some more specific examples of some of the math stuff, you can email me, which is on that wiki, my email address, and I can send you links to my ClassFlow lessons from my class. Yeah, absolutely, Luis. The grammar, character studies, there's, especially with the ability to take web articles and push them out, different articles out to different students. I used it actually with my students in my learning strategies class last semester. We used it for 2 different things. One was for a kind of a web literacy activity where the students were assessing different web pages, and so their creative poll had a checklist. And then they opened up another browser window and found a website and then assessed it on their ClassFlow thing. And then we could pull up the different ones and they could talk about their website while we had it projected. And then we had, the other one I did was some literacy test prep work. And so we co-wrote some summaries together. And then we also had an article up there. They wrote a paragraph, a summary paragraph in ClassFlow, and then we could pull up each other's, and they could look at each other's. And so we looked at them and talked about the different strategies that each one of the students had used. So absolutely some strong literacy connections in here, because the idea of students seeing each other's work is huge, and how much more they gain from that than just seeing my work and my examples. And there's a whole bunch of set images and little icons in there that you can use. So like those tangrams were already in the ClassFlow program. I just imported them into my file. Okay. So I am going to stop my screen share now. Unless anyone has questions about the teacher side of it, I'm going to go through now and show you how to get yourself started if you are creating a lesson. Sound about right for everybody? How about a green check mark if that sounds good now? And a question if it doesn't sound good. Okay, give me 2 seconds to close my ClassFlow and to bring open the wiki again. That way my computer isn't being overloaded. It's done pretty good actually. Okay, oh, I gotta stop sharing now. Luis, how do I stop sharing? Thank you. All right, now I'm going back into the web tour. You guys can ignore my help calls there in the middle of the session. Okay, so I've done I've shared the wiki again. So once you see Welcome to OTF Connect's ClassFlow for Interactive Classes, could I get a green check mark just so I know that we're on the same page? Good, and my dog is snoring in fine form right now. Okay, so we've done 1 and 2. The second part is the create an account. Oh, I have 2 2s in my list. Apparently I can't count. So this link I'm going to put in the web tour. I'm going to try this again. Let's see. I'm going to clear those check marks. Does everyone see create an account on the screen now? So I hit a check mark if you see. Oh, good. At least one of you does. Create an account. Oh, good. Okay. That video is 1 minute and 42 seconds, I think, long. And you can watch it right here in the web tour window. So you can just press play and watch it here. And I'm going to not talk for 1 minute and 42 seconds while everyone watches just the getting started with it. Yep, just click the play button, and then I'm going to clear these check marks now. Once you've watched the video, if you could have a green check mark to let me know that you finished, and then I will turn my mic back on. So I am going to stop talking for 1 minute and 41 seconds while you watch the video that's right there on our screen. Okay, I think should be finished that about now. Awesome. My suggestion would be that I have another little video here on creating your first lesson, that we watch that and then give people 5 minutes to go in, create their account, and start playing. How does that sound like a plan? I'm going to clear these check marks now. Does that sound like a good plan? Watch one more little video and then go and get an account, then give everyone 5 minutes to kind of create their account and play around a little bit. Any objections to that plan or concerns? Okay, so I'm going to put the next video up here, or try to anyways. Here we go. Does everybody see creating lesson and then 2 videos show up on their screen now? Just a green check if you see that. Oh, good. Okay. So the first video, let me just check how long it is 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And you're just watching the first video, not the one below it. The first video is about how to get in and start creating a lesson. So my suggestion is for me to be quiet again for 2.5 minutes. Or sorry, not 2.5, but 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Watch that first video at the top, and then ask some questions, and then that way people can go and create an account and start playing while I answer questions in the chat and help folks get sorted out. Okay, so I'll be quiet for 2 minutes and 50 seconds while everyone watches the video. When you're done, you can do a green check mark and just start creating your account. Okay, so I will officially be quiet for 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Awesome. So I think most people have finished watching that. Great. So questions, thoughts in the background right now while we're chatting for a few minutes. May I suggest you create an account, go in, and just kind of play with some of those basic features if you're interested. It is pretty easy to use. I do find there's a bit of a steep learning curve once I start wanting to use other resources. So they have a resource file bank at the bottom that they didn't show in that video. The next video on this page shows the resource file. And once you start getting into some of the more complicated stuff, it takes practice basically. I would say, and I've been using it a fair amount, and I would say I'm still not high advanced. I still am not using it to differentiate as much as I would like. I'm using a lot of the time I'm sending the same poll out to all my students when I really should be getting into that point. Now maybe it's more of a teaching barrier than it is like my instruction as opposed to the technology that's getting in the way, but I do need to work much more on sending different slides or different things out to students, if that makes any sense. And so I'm still learning as I go how to add in some of those higher and advanced tools. But I think that's why I like the tool so much, is because there's that wide range. I can use it tomorrow. Like you guys can set one up tonight and use it tomorrow pretty straightforward. But there's lots of room to grow. You can keep adding more and more parts of the tool and different things as you go. Definitely lots of room to grow and to keep going. So how's everyone doing with kind of getting an account set up in the background? Everyone doing okay? Questions, thoughts? I'm going to assume that people are still out there doing that. I'm not going to rush through this too much. But if you have questions, please pop in the chat, ask what you want to ask. Note that, or know that, this, yeah, the shared lessons are great. Sorry, I focus here, right? Note that they assess that when you're building a lesson, you're in a different window or a different setup than you were when you were playing that lesson. So I showed you, oh, that's weird. It's weird. So I showed you when I did the screen share what it was like when I was playing a lesson. Your lesson builder is different. Once you click play, it shifts into that window that we had when I was playing it. Is it a technological problem with the website, Chantel? Thanks, Vera. Have a good night, and I will, I'm sure, see you soon, or virtually see you soon. Nice. Awesome. This wiki's here for you, Vera. Take a look at, or give me an email. Any luck, Chantel? Okay, I'm just going to wait another couple minutes here, or a couple of seconds, and then we're going to talk about connecting students to a lesson. Oh yeah, Chantel, it's possible. That's right, I forgot you were having, yours is popping up with a lag still, so your internet is probably struggling having ClassFlow open and us, yeah. It's still thinking, it's thinking hard. I bet you once you get rid of us, the voices, you'll be able to get connected to it a lot easier. I do find that with ClassFlow, if your connection it doesn't have to be like crazy strong, but if other things are competing for it a lot, there are some glitches. So when my students have problems connecting to ClassFlow in my class, if I look at their computer, they've got 800 things open and not a very good computer, or our internet is bad board-wide that day. Oh, sorry, Catherine. So if you go to ClassFlow.com to create an account, you can just kind of create your account there based on that video that we just watched. You go in and register. Does that make sense? I'm sorry. I did miss that very important step. Can I get a green check mark when, it's funny, I can tell that you're all using ClassFlow because all of a sudden I'm getting everyone popping up with a bit of a lag. So I can tell that you're using more than one website at a time. A green check mark once you've just kind of created your account or whatever and want to, are ready to move into looking at sharing a lesson with a student. And we can talk about that. You don't see a green plus to create a lesson. Are you on your, does yours say at the top, Diane, classes? There's a button next to it that says lessons. Click on that first, and then you'll see the green plus. Let me know if that works. I think I've done that by accident too, Diane, and it's not your fault. I think they've switched what screen you automatically open up onto when you log in now. And I just realized that when you said it.